Without effective picking techniques, two things are going to be a major impediment for you. Number one, getting a good tone, and number two, being accurate and not hitting bad notes. This is the second video in a series of 3 that I have planned for you on slide guitar during this daily upload experiment. Generally speaking, when teaching yourself slide guitar, this is where it's at. I realize a few players through the years, you can see footage of them using picks. I don't like using a pick because at all points, I like to have some human contact with the string. So if you're not playing slide but you're using a pick, then your left hand is contacting the string. If you are playing slide, that human contact in the left hand is gone because you have a piece of glass or brass or metal, some kind of other material contacting the string instead of your fingertip. So the human contact coming from the right hand has a lot to do with getting and maintaining a good tone. With a pick, you get one sound. With the flesh of the fingers, you get another. But the even bigger issue is that when playing slide guitar, you want to be dampening the strings that you're not playing, because if you don't, you'll hear a mess of unintended notes that won't go with the key, that will sound like wrong notes. It'll make it literally impossible to play single string slide guitar in the style of Duane Allman and many who came after Duane. So now that the goal is clear so that you know what you're working for so that you don't waste your time, the way that you want to begin developing that technique with your picking hand is better shown than told. These right here are inseparable from this. This is called the string dampening technique, and there are 2 main elements to it. The first comes from the back of the hand and the palm, and that's gently resting on the lower half of the guitar, the wound strings covering the bass, low E, A, and D strings. On the upper half of the strings, G, B, and high E, the dampening is coming from the fingers themselves. As long as you're playing licks on the upper 3 strings, your hand can generally stay in that same position. But when you start playing the range of the entire guitar and moving between the first high E string and then down through the lower strings, you need to make an adjustment for effective dampening. Consider one note on the 4th string. Notice that the back of the hand lifted up, the palm cleared the strings, the index finger plucked the 4th string, and to dampen the strings below so that they don't sound, the pad of my thumb is resting on the A string, and the side of the thumb, as needed, is extending to dampen the low E string. The remaining fingers on the right hand are dampening the G, B, and high E strings above. But if you pluck the note with the thumb, you can continue to dampen the strings below with the back of your hand and your palm. You want the upper strings dampened using the same technique with the tips of the fingers. To begin practicing this, I would start with a single note, and just make sure that when you pluck that note, you're hearing the single note and not the notes that are on the other strings. From there, I would move on to practicing just 2 strings, perhaps the 2nd and 3rd strings as a starting point. At all points, you're working efficiently so that you develop good habits. Then try the entire upper half of the strings, G, B, and high E. If I was learning this from the ground up all over again, only at that point would I move on. Time and time again until I'm blue in the face, I've given the same advice about finger picking for people who want to learn how to do the alternate picking Chet thing. If you start out trying to sound exactly like Chet, you'll fail. But if you start out learning to keep good time on a single string in the bass, you'll develop good habits that will lead to developing really good thumb picking habits. In terms of approach and concept, there is absolutely nothing incompatible about any of the styles and the aspects of the guitar playing that I've explored, because to me, it's all rooted in efficiency. If you approach the guitar that way, you will improve. I'm still planning on and trying and working to get about 100 times better at the guitar myself, and I've already been at it for over 3 decades. A beacon and shining example we can look to for this kind of inspiration would be, of course, Jeff Beck, who really never stopped improving. That doesn't have to be limited to Jeff Beck. Any one of us can approach the instrument that way. As always, thank you for watching. Certainly hope that gives you some new ideas and some things to work on and helps to demystify the process further. And I'll see you again tomorrow.